Well, it's a Bubsy game that isn't deeply awful, so I guess that's an achievement. Well, the funny thing is, aside from the jokes, there is actually quite a bit to like about this game. The visual design is bold and interesting, the movement abilities are fun and fluid, the animation is goofy and expressive, and I did actually laugh at some of the jokes. In a Bubsy game! A surprising amount of this game does actually work really well. You can really tell that the dev team behind this game at least kind of wanted to put out something special and give Bubsy his first ever actual win. But what I can only assume was a legitimate effort and an honest college try is all ultimately wasted on a series of bland and almost thoughtless levels that refuse to ever challenge the player, or frankly even the developers, and end up feeling like the hub world and tutorials for a much better platformer. Despite its quirky visuals and interesting movement, nearly all of the game's level design feels bland and joyless, like the idea of a video game rather than the execution of one. There is so much dead space, so many meaningless platforming challenges, a seemingly endless roster of collectibles that aren't even fun to collect. So many of this game's environments practically beg you to explore them, only to punish you for ever assuming that they might actually provide you with something that's interesting to engage with. Bubsy's movement abilities are so much fun to interact with. There's a million things you can do with them. They almost feel like they're ripped directly out of a Mario game, but you're rarely, if ever, given anything of interest to actually apply them to. Despite all the things that this game does right, its lackluster level design and its genuinely putrid story end up creating a game that feels like a rough draft of a rough draft of a rough draft. And that really sucks because things do start to pick up once you've been playing for an hour or two. But at that point, this criminally short game is already almost over and your patience is more than spent. And that's just a damn shame, because if every single one of these levels was designed at the same caliber as the game's final few, and the game as a whole was a couple hours longer, this would be a very good game, or at least a somewhat enjoyable one. But instead, it's just another entry in the Bubsy franchise's legacy of failures. A game that's not good enough to be remembered, but also not bad enough to be infamous. A game with a finale that leaves you wanting more, and a start and midsection that leaves a bad taste in your mouth and makes you regret ever picking the game up.